Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Day today is the 23rd. The month is January, and the year is 2026. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Engel, aka Moton Noah. As I went to hit record, at the moments before I went to hit record, just doing a last minute scroll of my little news. Anything I gotta see, any presidents getting stolen, any countries being bombed, anything funny going on in the world, anybody getting traded, maybe, we cover all the biggest stories. We like to cover them from all angles. What's going on moments before I hit record? I see this. You seen this? You heard about this? Jake Fisher posted on Substack that the Golden State Warriors are interested in pursuing both LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo in free agency, or just not in free agency, but just this summer. This summer, they want to go after both Giannis Antetokounmpo and LeBron James. Jake Fisher, a guy who over the years has fired a lot of bullets. Seemingly every time somebody hits his line with information, Jake Fisher will be the first one to just kind of say it, just to keep you in the know. And so that way, if you fire enough bullets, eventually one of them's going to be right. The Warriors want to go after LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay. Maybe we could just start with the show with this. I mean, hey, was it Windhorst? I think was it an episode or two ago. Maybe we talked a little bit about this. Windhorst said that there are a number of deals that are done. They're done. But the only reason that they haven't been called into the league and made official is because there's this Giannis domino that needs to fall, and if teams are going to be involved, I don't think that's real. I don't believe that's real. Now, I don't know why. I for the life of me can't figure out why the hell Brian Windhorst would say that if it wasn't true, because unless he has a voodoo doll under the desk when he's saying that of John Horst, and he's gonna you know what I mean? Like, you're not just gonna gaslight unless Brian Windhorst, this is the only thing that I can think of. Unless Brian Windhorst is federal as fuck and is mouthpiecing for Giannis and shit is being quote unquote leaked to Brian Windhorst to say on behalf of Giannis and his camp to create this artificial pressure. Is that what it is? Am I thinking way too hard about this? What's the angle that I'm not thinking of then? Because why the fuck would he say this? Because I don't think this is true, because the Giannis trade is not going to happen. The Giannis trade is not going to happen in the middle of the season. Between now and, 2 weeks from now when the trade deadline happens, there's just no way. Whether it was an episode or two ago that we talked about this, what we said was the Luka thing kind of taught us that anything can happen. If the Luka trade can happen, then really anything can happen. Yes, that's true. But there are still other things that there's just no way that nobody can make this work right now. If you want to tell me that the Warriors are going to try to pursue him over the summer, that at least makes sense, because between now and then, there's a lot that they could do to, you trade. I don't know why somebody would take Jimmy Butler at this point, given the last couple days. The guy only has one knee. Maybe a medium lucrative coffee business at best at this point, but that's probably his best asset right now. What's more valuable, Jimmy Butler's one functioning knee or his coffee business right now? Big Head or whatever the fuck charges $45 a cup. So I imagine, although $45 a cup versus $50 million a year, charging $50 million a year to play basketball. How much is his contract? There's no way it's $50 million. It's neither here nor there. What are you going to do with Jimmy Butler? It remains to be seen. But you can make shit happen in the offseason, and I don't know. You can make something happen, but you can't make it happen right now. And so many teams, most of them, if not all of them, none of them, can make anything happen right now. We heard mysteriously there was 1 week where the Knicks were given exclusive rights to negotiate a deal for Giannis, but by that point in the summer, the Knicks had already, they were dude, we already tied up all our money. We already gave out extensions. We're already done. If you came to us way too late about this, what the fuck? Milwaukee was oh, sorry. So I don't know what's going on there, but okay. Dominoes have to fall. Dominoes have yet to fall. One of them is apparently that Giannis has to get traded. Okay, so at what point do teams then, Brian Windhorst, just say, all right, well, we just got to start making trades? Because otherwise, nothing's going on right now. There's nothing going on right now. Even the rumors are what? They're not, I don't know, there's not that many. There are a few here and there. There's some flutters coming out of Chicago, what's going to happen with Ayo DeSumo. Fun for Detroit, but I don't want to give anything up for him. I just don't really want to give anything up for him. Unless it's for real, like 2 seconds, which it just wouldn't be that. I don't want to do that. What's another one? Lou Dort. You hear this one about the Pistons? I mean, sure, let's just get another guy who doesn't shoot threes and plays defense. Like, that's cool. You know, Herb Jones, there's another guy the Pistons are slow. They're very lightly attached to right now. Herb Jones. Look, he's on an amazing contract right now. He plays the shit out of defense, but he also doesn't really shoot threes that well. So, like, we need another one of those guys. Oh, okay. All right. It would really tell you what the Pistons are prioritizing. You know, there was a rumor that came out. It would be Jaden Ivey and draft capital, maybe 1 or 2 picks for Herb Jones. Really? We're going to trade Jaden Ivey for a guy who can't shoot threes? You know, it's Herb Jones. He's awesome. He's awesome. But that Ivy chip is like, oh, that's what you're spending it on. Not like a Trey Murphy, another guy that, because Herb Jones, otherwise, who is he attached to right now? You know, Oklahoma City, I don't think they would want Herb Jones because I would want Trey Murphy because he shoots the threes. You know what I mean? He plays really good defense and he shoots the threes. You know, both of those guys are on really, really, really good contracts. Cost controlled. I think Trey Murphy for like 1 additional year. You know, but I don't know, you hear all these other reports coming out of New Orleans, just as a general, not even making it about the Pistons or whoever else, but about New Orleans specifically. You're also kind of hearing, you've heard for the last like month, like, we're good. We're good. We don't want to trade these guys. Zion? No. Like, we don't want to trade him. Trey Murphy? Nah, we don't really want to trade him. Herb Jones? Nah, we didn't really want to trade him. Good leverage move. I mean, that's good business by finally there. We got to the part. We've arrived at the part where Troy Weaver and Joe Dumars are conducting good business on behalf of the franchise in New Orleans. You know, this Derek Queen thing on the court is working out. The Derek Queen trade on the court is working itself out 100%. 100%. At this point in time, it has been easy when Derek Queen plays. It has been easy to surmise maybe we were all wrong in the end about did New Orleans give up too much for Derek Queen? First of all, yes, they did. They didn't have to trade up that high. They didn't have to. We don't need to relitigate that. They gave up fucking way too much. But what can also be true is that Derek Queen might be like an all-NBA guy at some point in his career. Really, really good. He's really, really good. So it also makes sense. You talk about this guy's, you know, this rookie's really working out. Well, Trey Murphy's on a really good contract. They got him for 4 more years. Herb Jones, I think they got him on for at least 3 more years. He's on a really good contract. Zion, they got for a couple more. They can just kind of let this thing play out, and it doesn't really matter. It's like he sells tickets, and when he plays, he's really good. Like, when Zion plays, he's really good. He's just good. So, like, I don't know. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything, but also, there's so many teams in the NBA that might give us a lot of shit. Like, if Oklahoma City comes calling, because that's the truth of this is, you know, anybody that New Orleans would be selling, I feel like they're only going to do it if they get way too much shit for it, you know, that they can't say no. Well, who does that come down to right now? Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City. Houston's not going to go after any of they got some stuff to throw around, but like Houston's not going to go after any of the guys in New Orleans. No. San Antonio? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that just depends on how. Do you want to just go in on the Victor Wembanyama thing? Do you want to just say, like, we just got to do it now? Let's just not wait, and let's just it's working now. You know, these guys that we keep drafting, we just keep hitting on these guards. This is working. Let's just fucking go all in and just get another guy who can knock down threes. Maybe they go get Trey Murphy. But ultimately, the team who, if Trey Murphy's going to get pried away this season, I just think it would be from Oklahoma City. You know, at some point, Presti's got to do something. He's got to do something. And so I would, you know, keep an eye on that. Do I think I don't know, man. I really go back and forth. They're going to keep Zion because otherwise who's going to come get him? Who's going to come get him? We just saw the Trae Young thing. This Ja thing is going to be shocking no matter how it happens. It's going to be shocking. I don't know what the Zion thing looks like. If there's like a spectrum, a continuum of, you're not going to get anything, but like you might get something and like it might work out. If there was a spectrum of that, the far left, which is, I don't think you're going to get fucking anything, and this isn't going to work out, is Ja Morant. The middle, I think, is Zion, where it's like, you might get something, but if he plays, he'll be fine. But that's a big if he's going to play. How much he's going to weigh. You know, what his facial hair is going to look like. How many women expose him for having sex with them, but paying them for sex, and $2,000. It's a bank screenshot that we saw from this woman. How many times is that going to happen while he's under, under contract for your team? That's kind of up in the air. He's in the middle of the spectrum. And Trae Young, I mean, I don't know. I guess he got traded for 2 seconds, and he's the only one who actually got traded for any. Did I say 2 seconds? 2 expirings is what I meant to say. 2 expiring contracts. And so that's really the worst, I guess, is this point. So this spectrum doesn't actually make any sense. The spectrum doesn't make any sense. And because I think however Ja gets traded, I think it's going to end up being in like a 8-team deal. It's going to be like an 8-team deal. He's going to get rerouted to Milwaukee, and we're all going to be like, It's going to be him or Zach LaVine. But what are we waiting for? So we're waiting for Ja to get traded to Milwaukee, but that can't happen, Brian Windhorst, until Giannis gets moved to where? To where right now? Where's he supposed to go? It's not going to happen. There's no way that this happens. What are the Lakers going to do? Well, apparently we touched on this within the last 2 weeks. Maybe trade Austin Reeves. Maybe do that. Maybe trade LeBron. I can't believe I bid on that last year. I can't believe I worked myself up into a frenzy, and I swore that immediately following the Luka trade that LeBron was going to get traded to Golden State. I swore it was going to happen. I believed it. And then the deadline passed, and it did not happen. That did not happen. Well, apparently, I guess now that boomeranged. Because where are we? Almost 365 days later. Almost. What are we like? Got to be like 340 days later since the Luka trade. And here we are. Jake Fisher posted on Substack. The Warriors are going to go after LeBron, and they're going to go after Giannis. What's the protocol on that? Let's just entertain it. Sure, let's entertain it. A couple of years ago, when the KD thing happened, and he went to Golden State, and then eventually even when they got DeMarcus Cousins, and people were like, you are a bitch if you pick Golden State in 2K. Like, that was immediately the etiquette. And if you bandwagon them, like, you were a loser and all this stuff, which, that comes with it. Of course that makes sense, and I'm not pushing back on that. I'm just saying, that's what it was. Observationally, that's what it was. Well, I'm asking in reference to if we get a team in 2027, and it's Steph, LeBron, and Giannis, what do you mean I'm not allowed to root for that? That's awesome. Because that's harmless. It's a lemon shark. It looks scary. It's harmless unless provoked. I mean, they'll burn you. And Draymond on that team, ooh. It's the third act of The Irishman when they're all in the retirement home. Well, not in the retirement home, when they're all in prison. Yeah, that's where they were when they were all in prison. What, I can't root for that team? They're going to win 37 games. And it's going to be fun. Because they're going to be in some primetime games. They're going to play on Christmas. They're going to play on, whatever. And it's on opening night. And it's going to rock. And they're going to be social media darlings. And it's going to be awesome. And then, although that would be such a weird way for Draymond's career to end, and for Steph's career to end, and for LeBron's career to end, is all on the same team. What the fuck is this, like, Looney Tunes, like, riding off into the sunset as the aspect ratio is a circle and it tightens like it's a James Bond, like, straw? No, fuck that. That sucks. This isn't hot. No, look, Indiana and Fernando Mendoza, they just got they just had the Disney movie. We can't do another one of these. Is that even a Disney movie? Wow, and in the end, that's written by AI. That's for real, that's a Kenny Beecham King of the Fourth Quarter video. And in the end, LeBron retired on the same team as Steph, and Draymond also retired, and then Giannis continued his career, and he continued the legacy in Golden State. Fuck that. No, that sucks. I don't want to root for that. And if they, so what if they did win a championship? That would rock. If they were actually good, that good? Yeah, that would rock. Are you kidding me? What does that do so then Steph would be at what, 5? Yeah. Well, then LeBron would also be at 5. Did they both have 4? Hold on. Steph has 15. He has 17, 18. And then, yeah, so he has 4. And then LeBron also has, so that would be, yeah, and then they get to 5 together. And then they tie Kobe. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. And then Giannis has 2. Who wins? What is this fan fiction? This roller coaster that I'm going on. I don't even give a shit about this. Not even gonna happen. Jake Fisher and his damn racket just pop, pop, pop. Yay, I think the Warriors are gonna go after LeBron and they're gonna go after Giannis. Yeah, maybe they will. Maybe the Celtics won't do anything. That'd make me feel a lot more confident about. There's just too many people texting me about the Pistons lately. There's just too many people. My brother sending me, these national pundits talking about the Pistons. Some of you guys emailing in national pundits talking about the Pistons. Ooh, they're my favorite coming out of the East. Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets, he texted me the other day. He's like, it's crazy that the Pistons are going to go to the finals this year. It's interesting the way that people are talking about the team. It's observational. It's just interesting the way that people are talking about the team. And you look at, I'm watching like Colin Cowherd earlier. I'm looking at the bottom ticker, and they're showing, like DraftKings odds or FanDuel, whatever. They're showing Vegas odds for, who's going to come out of the East. And the Pistons right now are the favorites. And I hadn't really thought of it this way, to be honest with you, which is at the beginning of the season, or basically at any point in the year, when you reference the month of January in the calendar year of the NBA, January is used as a reference point as like, this is where the dog days of the NBA season start. This is where guys start to hit, like the rookie wall. This is the point where, more importantly, we know the identity of teams and we know who they're going to be for the season. And with the trade deadline looming like it is right now, teams are starting to commit to whatever identity it is in one direction or another, winning or losing. This is the point in the season where teams start to do that. And I was like, wow, man, like we really are going into February and the Pistons are the 1 seed. And it took them until, a week and a half into January to hit double-digit losses on the season. And I was like, well, I guess we're at that point in the season. Cade's, starting in the All-Star game. And, Jalen Duren's going to get in there too and cover his Slam magazine for him. And, just how good this team is. It's like, oh, yeah, I guess we are at the point where it's like, no, yeah, they're just good. Yep, it's not just a good start. It's just like, nope, this is good. They're good this season. And, despite the fact that all we do is talk on this show about, especially lately, about the trade deadline and, what the Pistons might or might not do. And, as it relates to, Michael Porter Jr. or a Trey Murphy type guy or something like that. You've seen Ayo Dosunmu go out there or some rumors go out there. And we mentioned Lou Dort a little bit. People really want Karis LeVert off this team, man. It happened. We got to the point it happens for everybody in the cycle for everybody that has ever played or rooted for a team that Karis LeVert has played for. Just the cycle of like, oh man, like this guy, like he's a good scorer. Like this will be fun. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then you pay him I guess it's a little bit different for everybody. I'm thinking more specifically about the extension that he got from the Nets. It's neither here nor there. We've gotten to the point that everybody's gotten to with Karis LeVert. We're like, all right, okay. All right. Thanks, partner. Tobias is just going to be a POW in this. It's sort of caught in a civilian caught in the crossfire. It's going to be really too bad the way that it seems like it's going to go down with Tobias Harris. We said this all year. We predicted this all year. We said keep an eye on that Chris Middleton. Seems like he's going to be a buyout guy. And then you kept seeing him in these fake trades. I said, I'm not so sure. I think he's going to be a buyout guy. Boom. Boom. The Lord is my shepherd. We got there from the crow's nest. Boom. That's the word coming out like the last week. Yeah, it seems like Chris Middleton's going to be a buyout guy. It's going to be pretty funny when he just goes back to Milwaukee, invariably when he just goes back to Milwaukee. And the Operation Cash is back on. In the cheese town in Milwaukee. Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool just from the sense of like he can retire because he's just not, well, I don't know. Chris Middleton's not a corpse. He's not a corpse. He's kind of gotten to that Nick Batum phase in his career. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. You know what I'm talking about? That Nick Batum phase of Chris Middleton's career. But that patchwork stuff that Milwaukee's been doing the last few years anyways, like even before they ended up having to get rid of Chris in the first place. It's funny that it just kind of comes back around and Chris Middleton's part of that. I also think it's interesting, it's almost been 5 years since they won the championship. 5 years ago, like who would you have guessed would be the last man standing from that title team, like from the real core of that team? If you would have told me Dante was gone a couple years ago, I would have been surprised, to be honest with you, but I wouldn't have been shocked. Oh, wow, okay. Chris, I think, would have been the first guess. No, he's gone. Wow, oh, wow, oh, okay. Brook, I thought would have been retired by now, to be honest with you. I thought Brook was on his last legs in 2021. I guess I didn't know. I guess I clearly didn't know what I was watching because he's still alive. He's still playing. I mean, he's still playing. Okay. If you told me it wasn't Drew Holiday, yeah, what's the mental exercise that I'm doing here? It's just crazy that it's Bobby Portis, really. You know, it's kind of interesting that it's him. Maybe because he's an easy guy to pay. Maybe because he's sort of like honestly, he's sort of like an irreplaceable guy anyways, just his sort of his role in what the team is and the culture of what the team is and the identity of the team is in a lot of ways wrapped up in, you know, of course, Giannis, but also a guy like Bobby Portis. I guess it makes sense from that standpoint, but also it just seems so easy to include him in. Maybe teams don't want him. I don't know. Maybe teams don't want him. I hated him when he was in Chicago. Oh, I hated Bobby Portis so much. But he changed my mind. He Steven Crowdered my ass, man. I was Steven Crowdered by Bobby Portis years ago. This happened years ago, though. I couldn't tell you the moment, but he did this to me years ago. It's just interesting that it's him. And so the guy that they're going to bring back, maybe it's not Chris Middleton. Maybe he's not bought out. Maybe he's included in some wonky trade where Jaren Jackson ends up in Washington. Jaren Jackson ending up in Washington. Imagine that. The word coming out of Wizards camp reads thus, quote, the deconstruction phase is over, unquote. That's what they're saying in Washington. Whoa, the deconstruction phase is over. So Trae Young was really that was it. And you dusted your hands and we got a bargain bin. We went to Walmart because we got a little bit stoned and we just hung out in the parking lot and then we went inside to go to the bathroom and then we were just kind of like fucking around in the back of the store and we found like the dollar movie bins and we found we found Trae Young. We found Trae Young in there and it's like, this is $1.50 for whatever. Let's go home. We're stoned. Like, let's just go watch this. That's what they found. And they're like, we're done. Wow, we're complete. They found the Wizard of Oz for $1.50 and synced it up to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. And they're like, oh my God, we unlocked the key to the, you know what I mean? That's what the Wizards just did. And they're like, we're good. We did it. Okay. All right. I don't know. Maybe they're right. I just think I made a community post about this maybe like a week or two ago. It was received poorly. You guys didn't like this idea at all. I just think the Wizards could make weird shit happen. With the guys that are on their books, they can make some weird shit happen. They got some picks that they can move around. They can make some weird stuff happen. I look at a Grizzlies team that I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know. I mean, I think we're all very acutely aware that the fish typically rots from the head, and who's the head of the fish in this instance? Mr. Bazooka. They call him Joe Bazooka. They call him Job Bazooka. I should have just called him Mr. Bazooka. And then Joe Bazooka was, I think, a bubblegum. And then I was just like, well, his name also begins with a J. It's Job Bazooka, the de-evolution of the joke. That joke was basically the backwards picture. It's the man walking backwards into the water. He starts as a man, and then he becomes a fish man, and then he's a full frog by the end of it. Was by the time we got to Job Bazooka, that's where we were. I don't know what the Grizzlies are doing, and I just think Jaren Jackson Jr. is about to start making a shitload of money. A lot of it. And if you're trading Ja, I don't know. I just think you're sort of doing like a reset of a team. And everybody kind of says the same thing about Jaren Jackson. So I don't want to be reductive and just kind of repeat the same thing that everybody else says about him, which is like, well, do I really want a defensive player of the year who doesn't rebound the ball and makes $55 million a year? No, I don't want that, to be honest with you. No, in a vacuum, no, I don't want that. You know, anytime I bring up Jaren Jackson, I'll always have to mention how desperately I wish it was true that all those years ago that the statistician in Memphis was actually fudging his numbers and that they was inflating his case for Defensive Player of the Year. I so desperately wish to this day that story was true. And if something like that happened today, I would spend years talking about it. But it just happened too long ago, and I don't care anymore. I don't really care more. I think the Wizards could make something weird happen, and then suddenly you just have a weird team. You just have a really weird team, but in a fun way, you know. Trae Young, by all accounts, I think we're all in agreement. He's gonna opt out, and then he'll restructure his deal in a way that makes way more sense. Makes way more sense and is way more team friendly. I think And then at that point, sure, if you have to pay Jaren Jackson, $50 million, yeah, that stinks. Yeah, that stinks. But those are two good players, and then you know what I mean. I don't know. And I think that's a team that DC would care about. I think that they'd rally around. Maybe they don't need to do it. I don't know. Is it confirmed or did it already happen? What's going on with John Wall's jersey retirement? So is that a real thing? Because I saw was it Trey that I saw maybe like a lip reading or something when he first got to Washington. There was something that he said about this. Is that a real thing? Did it already happen? I have not seen this. I have not heard about this. So I'm not entirely sure. Other NBA teams. What else is going around? I'm just trying to think any other trade deadline teams that we want to say anything about. Orlando. I don't know who it is. I don't know who it's supposed to be. And I get so sickened by this. I get so upset talking about Orlando because, man, I always love the guy at Duke that is the Duke guy, like the quintessential Duke guy. You're supposed to, boo, you're the Duke guy, blah, blah, I fucking hate you, you're Satan. I always love that guy. Except Grayson Allen, I hated him. Oh, I hated him, man. But everybody else, I just kind of typically like. I fucking hated Paulo. And he wasn't the typical Duke guy. Like, he wasn't. Like, even, like, Jason Tatum, like, really wasn't. They were just kind of there. Again, that was kind of it. Kyrie, people really hated Kyrie. But, Paulo, I just didn't like him. I didn't like his game. I just didn't like him. But then he damn sold me. He sold me. I see him on podcasts. I'm like, man, he's a really cool dude. And that just changes your perception of people, And these guys on the court, when you just see them for 2 minutes, interacting outside of a game. And I was fine. I buy some stock and I talk him up. I say I like Paulo Banchero. I like this guy, and it's the damn minute that I do that, which I never sell. I never sell like that, man. I always stick to my guns, and I did for this guy, and I don't know why. Just because I thought he was a funny, interesting guy outside of basketball. Well, the reason I didn't say he was a shithead guy, I thought he fucking stunk at basketball, and I let him being a cool guy affect how I view his game. I'm a fucking fool, man. I'm a fool. All people are doing is tearing this guy apart this year. I could have been ahead of this. I could have been years ahead of this, and instead I sold, man. I sold paper hands. That's what they call me. I got little baby paper hands. And I damn shorted myself and shit my pants over the Paulo Banchero stock. I sold. It went up. I shorted myself. I'm a fool. I don't know what they're supposed to do. Maybe they'll be fine. I don't care. I'm so mad about it. Dallas. Yeah. Rich Paul demanded a trade on behalf of his client, Anthony Davis. I'm sure you all saw the quote, similarly, Jonathan Kuminga demanding a trade in Golden State, that Mike Dunleavy, the well-respected general manager of the Golden State Warriors, he came out and he was like, yeah, we recognize, we see that he demanded a trade, we see that, we respect that, but there has to be demand for that. And it's like, haha, it's a good quote. It's a really funny quote. And you do just kind of, it's the same thing, Control C, Control V over to this Anthony Davis thing. Who's going to trade for him? Who's going to do it? Because the Chicago thing doesn't really sound like it's going to happen. I think that was kind of around for like a week, like 2 months ago. And then I think it was the Bulls that were like, we're good. We actually are more committed to being in the perfect middle of the pack every single year, not a spot higher or lower, perfectly in the middle every single year. And Anthony Davis kind of, there's too much variance in where we could be, too high or too low. So I think we're gonna have to pass on that. No merchandising for us. No merchandising for us. We can still do the Jordan shit and make all of our money off of that. And every single dime that the Chicago Bulls, we as the Chicago Bulls that we make, the Reinsdorf family, is pure nostalgia. Every cent of it is, every fucking dime and penny and quarter and nickel and half dollar is based off of nostalgia, because we refused to field a competitive team, because we were good. We hit the fucking jackpot, and then that was it. And then we did not, and that was it. And then we dusted our hands and we said, we're set forever. We are now a global brand. Everybody will recognize us forever because of one fucking guy. And we will never, ever, ever, ever reinvest, ever, ever reinvest in this product. And maybe in like 20 years, we will hit on another guy who is a hometown guy. His name is Derrick Rose. And then as soon as his knee falls apart, we will, that all the Jimmy Butler shit that was attached to that still rubs me the wrong way to this day. Fuck that guy. He's so federal as hell. Federal as hell, Jimmy Butler is, man. Crazy. He's just like Brian Windhorst. Going to like the Chicago Sun-Times being like, Derrick Rose is a pussy. Right, okay. And then everybody in Chicago is like, kill Derrick Rose. And then he gets traded to the Knicks. Boo! Boo, Jimmy Butler. And then he gets his way. He gets out of town. He gets traded for Zach LaVine. He goes to Minnesota. And he has this fake. He planted this, man. He planted this story. He knew. He manipulated the story, the media. He knew. He played Rachel Nichols like a damn fiddle. He goes to the Timberwolves. He says, "Hey, Rachel Nichols, you want to come do a profile on me? Oh, come to Minnesota. Yeah, come to this practice." She goes, "Okay." They go to dinner. The next day, she shows up at practice, and it just so happens that it's the practice where Jimmy Butler is, playing with the two-string or with the second stringers, and he beats the ones and blah blah blah, and this whole thing, this practice blow up, and he has, "Oh, you guys are soft as fuck," blah blah blah. Right. It's essentially like the damn Washington Post journalist in the this isn't the same thing, and I'm fucking this up anyways. This was a plant. This was a plan. He gets out of these, "Oh, you guys are babies. I don't want to play here anymore." Right. He gets his way. He gets traded. I could do this all fucking day. That guy's federal as hell. What do you say we do an email, folks? copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. Fun one. Little cute one here from Lev. He just sent this in. Our 11-year-old correspondent. I think he's got to be coming up on 12. I think his birthday's coming up soon. 11-year-old correspondent Lev. This one's a fun one. Lev, welcome back to the show, brother. Subject line: I scored my first goal in soccer practice. Hi, Nick. I scored my first goal in soccer practice this past Thursday. There are 5 strings. I'm on my school soccer team. There are 5 strings, and I'm 5th string. But that's because I'm in 6th grade, and my team is 6th through 8th grade. Our first game is in the first week of February. We have not gotten our positions yet. I hope I get striker. What happened is that the goalie passed the ball to me, and I one-touched it into the goal without stopping the ball to control it. After I scored, I said, "Golazzo!" and I dapped up my teammates. Have you ever scored a goal when you were playing in a real game outside of practice? Have a soccer day. Thank you for this, Lev. I thought this was fun. I think it's cute because we all have a story. Maybe we've talked about this a time or two on the show, but just the first story of like you playing sports. That you're playing baseball. You get your first hit or your first home run or your first strikeout or something like that. Your hockey, your first goal, football, touchdown or tackle or fumble, interception, something like that. Basketball, your first basket, your first, game winner, your first, something big like that. Maybe your first dunk. Like, I don't know. We all kind of have one of those stories. The only organized sports I ever played was football. My first touchdown was in 2007. I was in 4th grade. So in 2007, I was about 9 years old, and I was lined up at corner, so we were on defense. And when you're in 4th grade, you don't throw the ball very much at all. You don't throw the ball very much. You can't see over the line, much less like throw it over the line and like have any idea of like where the ball's going. You just don't do it. So if you play receiver at that level, you're not good because you're not getting the ball. You just need to be out there doing something because you have a play limit that every kid has to play a certain amount of plays every game. So the bad kids would play receiver because they just needed to be out there, right? Because otherwise you're not getting the ball. So I'm lined up at corner, which is good for me as a 9-year-old because I didn't want to play defense. I was not interested in playing defense at all. Whenever there would be like a sweep, I'm about to sound like such a loser, but I'll be honest with you. If there was like a sweep coming my way, it was not uncommon. There was a time or two where I just let the receiver block me, and I was like, ah, shit, he got by me. And my coaches would get so mad at me. I'm like, sorry, I was like, he held me, coach, he held me. Nah, I just wasn't really in the mood for contact, so I was like, man, go ahead, there's 15 yards. I got burned on reverses every single time as a kid. Oh, they would get my ass every single time. And it was always my dad. He was always one of my coaches. Every single one of the coaches, but my dad would, God fucking damn it. They would get so mad at me. I would be on the complete opposite side of the field, and I would get burned on it every single time. My first touchdown, though, I was lined up at corner. I don't know. I wasn't really, you're supposed to, like, as soon as the ball snaps, backpedal. I was like, fuck this. The ball's not coming my way. I don't care. So I'm not moving at all. I'm just standing there. And all of a sudden, like, the receiver's, like, kind of running towards me. And I just, like, see the ball coming my way. And I was like, oh, nice. I swear to God, I didn't move at all. And it just, like, landed into my arms. And I was like, oh, fuck. And then I was like, oh, cool, I have it. And I just ran, like, 80 yards. An 80-yard pick six as a 9-year-old. It was awesome. I didn't have to do anything at all. Every single year that I played, I had at least one interception. It was like it's the most proud, like, streak that I've ever had in my life of, like, anything cool I've ever done. I had at least one interception in every single year that I played, but that was the only one that was a pick six, and that was my first touchdown. My first interception that I threw, well, it was probably that same year. I'm telling you, man, I couldn't see shit over the line. I was throwing it somewhere. Usually it was into the linebacker. I didn't know. And then we'd get intercepted. I'd be like, I don't care. I'd be like, whatever. I'd just go back to the sideline. My coach would be like, oh, this time throw it here, and, like, your footwork and blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, like, in my head, I'm just like, I don't care, man. I'm 10. I don't care about this. And then I'm 12. I'm like, I don't care about this. I still can't see, man. I still just can't see where you want me to throw. I can't do it. These shoulder pads are too big. I don't have a good range of motion. And most importantly, man, I gotta be honest with you, I don't fucking care. I don't care. The most humiliated I ever was in an actual game. Well, what was the most humiliating? Oh, I don't know if this is number one, but this is one of them. And it stinks because it was a game that was otherwise the best that I had ever played. But I was playing on every snap, on special teams, on kickoff, on kick return, on fucking punt, I was off the field on punt, but on punt return, on defense, I was playing safety, on offense, I was playing quarterback. We're doing, like, quarterback draws, like, every third fucking play. I'm losing my mind, right? Well, they got me on, so we go out for an offensive drive, and then we're out there for like 5 minutes. I'm running around doing all this shit, and we turn the ball over. They punt. We go on defense. I go out there. I'm at safety. I'm gassed, and I'm like, I'm back. I'm playing 30 yards off the ball. I'm like, just fucking deal with this. I'm not playing defense. I'm just not doing it. It's the first play, man. It was their first snap, just right up the middle. The gates just open, just wide open. All there was between that guy and me was one linebacker, and he made one fucking move, and the kid was in the dirt. And I was like, and it pissed me off so much that he missed the tackle and that I had to deal with this, that I actually tried. And I was like, I'm gonna hit this fucking kid. And I swear to God, I lunged at him, and I've never felt so, like, I got stiff-armed into the ground, but it wasn't just that he stiff-armed me. It was like he palmed the crown of my helmet, and it was almost like he yanked my face mask down, but he didn't have my face mask. It was just so much force that he just mushed me into the dirt, and I had the big, that picture of damn Calvin Johnson when we were playing the game against the Eagles, and he's got that big snow piece in his face mask? That was me, but with a big old mud patch. That was me. That's what that kid did to me. He goes, 65 yards to the house. That was the last line of defense, and I tried my ass off to stop him, despite the fact that I was really committed to not doing that. And he embarrassed the shit out of me, and it sucked. We lost that game. We lost that game by like 3 scores, I think. It just wasn't. I was playing with the damn Stand By Me kids in that game. I was playing with the outsiders and damn Pony Boy in that game. I was playing with the B team. So these were all the kids that were burners. They were degenerates. As ninth graders, they didn't want to be there. They wanted to play on the team so that they had a jersey and then they could be like, yeah, I'm on the football team. And I had to be the damn quarterback with those kids. I was literally I was damn Paul Crewe in The Longest Yard. I was literally Adam Sandler, and I had that is the best way that I can describe it, honestly. And so I was not excited to play with those fucking kids, but I couldn't play on the good team because there was too many kids and the other quarterbacks were better than me, and they were just better than me, so I didn't get to play. And so then and there's 70 kids on the team, so then they make a different team, and they're like, hey, if you're like one of the bad kids, like you can just play on this other team. It's still the same school, but you just get to play separate games. Yeah, okay, sure, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let me get these reps in. You go and you get your ass kicked by kids who are older than you, like 2 years older than you. Oh yeah, okay, great, sounds good. Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, great. Did I score any touchdowns? Yeah, well, I've told a lot of stories about me scoring touchdowns in high school, and also I don't want to tell too many of these stories and sound like damn Uncle Rico, but I just think it's fun. It is fun to go down and do these memories. Lev, you're in the stuff that I'm talking about right now, and that you in the comments, I hope, are, or maybe you sent emails about, thinking about your youth sports and like the first time you did this thing and like how cool it was. Lev, what's fun for you is you're doing that right now. You're doing that right now. You're making those memories right now. And so, yeah, it might, maybe there are some days where like you're going to practice or like you're in a game or something, like, how I'm describing, how I'm like, dude, I just don't want to be here at all. It's okay to feel that way. It's all right to feel that way. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're just super stoked to be there. And like, I just hope you appreciated it. It's hard for you to know like how to appreciate it the way that I'm talking about it, and the way that, in this very nostalgic way. Because to you, it's just all that you know right now. It's just sort of your everyday life. And you're like, what's so special about this? This is just like my normal life. No, I know, man, but you just don't know. And I'm not trying to like be like, well, you just don't know yet. No, I know. You just don't know what you don't know. And so it's cool to be talking to somebody. You guys get what I'm trying to say to him? It's cool to be talking to somebody who's experiencing right now the thing that I have so much nostalgia for, and that so many of us have so much nostalgia for. I did have like in elementary school, we always did soccer during lunch. And the one time in my life that I had the game-winning goal and everybody wanted to talk to me and high-five me and be my friend was like the coolest day. Oh, it was the coolest day in the world. Oh, man, it was so cool. I was so excited. What pisses me off? What's a game that for no reason at all I'm not good at? For no reason at all, I cannot play kickball. For the life of me, I can't do it. I've never been good at it. I always think like, yeah, man, it would be kind of fun. Like right now, if, weather permitting, for a lot of people here in the United States, we're about to get hit with a shocking cold front, like a shocking, like polar vortex, the damn Jackson polar vortex. No, it's going to be -40 in Chicago the day that this is releasing, -40 on Friday and then like -30 on Saturday. So it's going to be pretty brutal. So if it wasn't that outside and you were like, dude, let's go play kickball, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds actually really fun right now. At any given moment, I would want to play it. Well, Nick, what do you mean you're bad at it? I just always kick it to people. Always. And no matter what I do, I swear to God, I never... But like when you're playing... And this is always how it goes, is when you're playing defense in kickball, you're watching the other team... They're having a blast and they're hitting it into all the right sweet spots and all the perfect places. And, when somebody makes a defensive play and they throw it to a base, like, oh, it sails. And then they get, you know what I mean? Like, but then when your team's up, like everybody fucking stinks. And you're like, oh man, this is going to be so easy. Like, I know exactly how, and then you boot it and like, but then it just like, it's a line drive, like right to like, it's, you know what I mean? Maybe one of you out there is like, no, I played intramural kickball and I won the MVP of my league all 4 years that I was at Saginaw Valley State. Yeah, maybe, bro. Maybe this is just me. I just was never good at it for no reason at all, despite the reasons that I just laid out, which all just kind of seem like I'm like me playing kickball is like Forrest Gump for a guy who just sucks at sports. I was just always in the wrong game at the wrong time and hitting the ball in the wrong place at the wrong time. it just never worked. It's like golf. It just dies. Can't do it. I can't do it. I love being out there. I love being on a golf course. I love sitting in a cart. I just love it. I love the setting and the atmosphere of like just golf, but I can't play it. I cannot for the life of me play it. What else do I got for you guys today? Lev, thank you very much for that email, brother. Can I softly introduce you guys to something that I've been working on for the last couple of months? Let me just pull it up right here. Yeah, I've been working on a fun little gimmick. This isn't really going to be like super interesting yet, but as time goes on, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm just letting you know that this is something that, a little gimmick that I'm just starting to put together here. It was a couple months ago. I was texting my brother, and let me see if I can look at the list here, and I can see who it is. It would have been Evan Turner. I see Evan Turner pop up on an NBC broadcast because I was trying to watch a Michigan State basketball game. It's unknowable who they were playing. This was a while ago, okay? And I sent a picture of it to my brother, and it's Evan Turner, and they show his resume, his college basketball resume, and all this stuff. I go, if there was a That Guy Does TV, like, rating scale, like 1 out of 10, I'm giving Evan Turner a 5.2. Really? Evan Turner? That guy's doing TV? 5.2. That's a little bit of like, wow, okay, that's a nice little surprise. But also, it makes the most sense that he's doing college basketball specifically. I know that he's done NBA. I know he's not new to television specifically, but in this specific medium, within NBC's college basketball, I hadn't seen Evan Turner before. I guess maybe he's popped up, but I hadn't seen it. It makes sense, especially when they flash his resume. He was really accomplished at Ohio State. And so that's kind of all that this is. It's like you see somebody on TV, doing sports media that it's, whoa, that guy's doing TV. You know what I mean? And it's like, just how surprising is it? So who else is on this list? This is kind of where it's weird. It's like just the names that I have written down here. There's not really any real rhyme or reason to them other than most of the names that I just started with, because like I'm not gonna just like put legacy media guys on here and like think back to when they first started doing TV. Like I'm not doing that. Like right now, at least I'm not doing that. So right now I basically use like, okay, all the new additions to the NBA media sphere using Prime or like NBC as an example. So when you think about Blake Griffin, right? So he's kind of new to not really TV, he's done stuff before, but you know what I mean? Like NBA coverage, like he's new to this space. So what's his rating? 1.4 out of 10. That Guy Does TV. Yeah, that makes sense. He's a 1.4 out of 10. 10, I guess I should have said if you haven't picked up already, is like whoa, That Guy Does TV. Yeah, Blake Griffin, no, he's just made for it, That's kind of been, even when he was in the NBA, it's like, yeah, this guy be doing TV. You know what I mean? Steve Nash, also on this broadcast, he got a 2.1. 2.1 out of 10. Why is he not surprising? Well, he did the podcast with LeBron and had otherwise done media before and had kind of been like a public facing, guy I know he was working with the Warriors for a little bit too. Yeah, it's not surprising. Like Steve Nash has, be making his voice heard over these last couple of years. Who else is on here? Dirk, 4.2. Oh, whoa, Dirk is doing TV. I couldn't really think of anything. That's another guy who I think had like done like inside the NBA before, but having like a committed, this is what I do, and that how many games does Prime get a week? Like 2 or 3 or so. Well, I guess more than 2 or 3, but like dedicated nights, I guess is more specifically what I should say. Is it 2? I don't know what the schedule actually is, but this is what he does. Wow, okay, yeah, that's surprising. It's cool. It's exciting. Udonis Haslem. So he's at the top of the list right now. Top of the leaderboard is Udonis Haslem at 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, I don't know. Again, he's done TV for a couple years now. So a couple years now. How long has he been gone from the Heat? He's not like new. Like Prime isn't the first time that we saw Udonis Haslem, doing TV is the point of what I'm saying here. But I don't know. Like it would be the same way if Dante Jones started doing TV, These like end of the bench guys who are just kind of like these, like literally the only reason that you're here is to like talk shit on the bench, like bench mob shit and like culture shit. Udonis Haslem was not a real player for the last like 5 years that he was on the last 5 years that he was on the Heat, he was not a real player at all. And so maybe, as I'm saying this out loud, I don't think he should be at the top of this list, 5.5 out of 10. I mean, it's just because he is right now, because there just hasn't been, like, he's not the craziest, it's just right now. But, like, a 5.5 is a good rating for him, because it's not that crazy, but it's like, oh, whoa, I thought you were just going to be, like, too good. Like, I don't know. I don't really, just didn't really seem like some of the, who else is on here? Mike Tomlin, we're putting him on here. We're being proactive. We're putting Mike Tomlin on here because there's no chance that he doesn't do TV next year for, I assume, CBS. We've prematurely put him penciled him in at a 3.7 because it's just too obvious. It's just too obvious that he's going to do this. It's not surprising. You know, I could have put if I could put Brady in here, because maybe we're close enough to that. Is it surprising that Brady's doing? Yeah, it is kind of surprising. If I had to just off the dome put myself in the shoes of 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe 3.5, when we learned that Brady was going to kill Greg Olsen and take his job. It was crazy because he was otherwise pretty closed off. We didn't know that much about Tom Brady's personal life other than obviously who he was married to. He was, married very famously to Giselle. And we knew a little bit about his kids, but I don't know. There wasn't that much access into Tom Brady, the guy. And so for him to, I do think it was pretty crazy. I would say maybe a 6.8, maybe. Is it? That feels good. I would say Tom Brady's a 6.8. Whoa, Brady's it might be higher than that. It might be a little bit higher than that. I'm going to chew on that one and I'll think about it. Is there anybody else on this list that I wanted? Robbie Hummel's on the list, but I don't think 3.6. Austin Rivers 2.3. Austin Rivers isn't surprising because when he was at Duke, I don't know if he declared a major, but if he was, maybe it was broadcasting or business communications or something. I don't think he had one. I think he was just I'm for real. I'm just going to, if I don't go to the league, I'm just going to do broadcasting. So we just kind of knew he was going to do this someday. Kirk Cousins doing TV 1.3. Yep. He's in last place right now. Kirk Cousins, least surprising, member of the That Guy Does TV fraternity right now at 1.3 out of 10. Kyle Long on here, 1.9. Well, his dad has done it for so long. It just made sense. Guy has also been very, public facing for a long time. Actually, and that's the whole list. I ended up just naming everybody just there. So there you go. That Guy Does TV, the official power rankings, just something to keep an eye on. If you guys see anybody weird doing TV, let me know. Maybe we'll add them to the list. Something to just keep an eye on, folks. What else do I got for you? Hey, I left the house. Went to the movie theater the other day. Whoa! On Wednesday, went to see 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Now, the first part of this, I'm not going to do, you can listen to this. It's no spoilers. You can listen to the first part. I'll let you know when to stop listening for those who care about the movie. First, I just got to say this. The last time I went out of my way to leave the house by myself and see a movie, was the last time that 28 years or 28 period. Well, how do I say this? It's the last goddamn time that a 28 years movie came out, which I don't know how to say this. In June, when the last fucking movie came out, I went to see it. All right. And I made it a priority to go see the movie. And I haven't left the house by myself since then. And the only reason I did it was because there was another one coming out. And so I'm only saying this just to say it's a testament to how I view this franchise, and I think it's the best zombie media that we have. It's not technically zombies, right? For sure, but you know what I mean. It's the best. It's the best IP. I really get up for this shit, and so going into this, I had really high expectations because I think the only people who are seeing this one are the people who fucked with the last one, and a lot of people really didn't fuck with the last one. But we knew something. Okay, I guess this is, for some people, maybe it is a spoiler, but this has been public for so long. But I'm learning that for some people, they either didn't know this or they completely forgot. So you can take this with, what I'm about to say has been public for a long time, but maybe you forgot about it, okay? But I'm also saying this does happen in the movie, all right? So this, I'm going to say something that does happen at the end of this movie, okay? So we knew that after 28 Years Later came out, that they filmed a sequel back to back. Boom. We got another one coming out and it'll be here in January. So within 6 or 7 months, we got a sequel coming out. It's like when when Ty West, they made X and then they made Pearl back to back. And those two movies released within 6 months of each other, right? And then they took 3 damn years to release Maxine, which maybe is what they'll do with the third movie here. Well, they said, right? So that's where it's going. They said, we're going to have a second movie after this. And then we'll take a little bit of time and write and make the third one. But we're going to tell you something. We're going to tell you something to get you invested in this new trilogy, okay? During the promotion, of 28 years later, they said at the end of the next movie, Cillian Murphy will show up to set up the third movie. They said that. It was confirmed. And then Cillian Murphy was like, yeah, excited to be part of it. Okay? So I go into this movie and I'm like, all right, like excited to get to the end and see Cillian Murphy. Like, okay. And then the whole movie, I'm like very conscious of that. Like, I'm like, okay, how is this going to work? Like, what is this movie? What's going on here? The movie rocks. But the whole time, I'm like, I know it's not over, and I know it's not close to being over because Cillian Murphy hasn't shown up, and there's no way for him to show up. You know what I mean? Like, that's in my head the whole time because they told us that he's going to show up. So you get to the end of the movie, and what happens in the last 5 minutes of 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which just released this last weekend, okay? Cillian Murphy appears. Wow! He shows up. He's in the last 5 minutes of the movie, just like they said he would be. That's really interesting because what I was watching in that theater, what I was experiencing in that theater was not a feeling of, wow, wow, what the fuck? It was a feeling of, well, God damn it, this would have been awesome. This would have blown the roof off of this theater. You know, not like the Avengers, but you know what I mean? Like, my jaw would be on the floor if you didn't tell us this. Why did they ruin that surprise? It was such a fun little reveal. Not if you were expecting it, by the way. It really wasn't if you were expecting it, which I don't know if I said this yet. I was, because Danny Boyle and Alex Garland and company and the whole production team told us Cillian Murphy is going to show up at the end of the second movie to set up the third one. I get out of the movie. I text my brother. I go, hey, that was awesome. That movie was amazing. I loved it. I'm obsessed with it. But why the fuck did they tell us that? He goes, it's funny because I had completely forgotten about it. He goes, I completely forgot about it until the moment he showed up. And I go, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I go, well, God damn it. That's nice for you. Maddie, my girlfriend, a girl that she goes to work with, like she's at fucking school, that Maddie works with, was talking to her about the movie, and Maddie's like, yeah, Nick saw it, and blah blah blah, and she said that her coworker was like, yeah, oh, she's going off about the last 5 minutes, how crazy it was, blah blah. She had no idea. What the fuck? Because I care too much, about what's being said during the press run of a movie. And because I care too much about the production of a movie, and because I care too much about the IP, and I learn too much, it's fuck me, and this is I'm pissed off about this. I'm mad about this, for real. I mean, it's not like I cannot emphasize enough. I really, really, really love this movie. And I'm not going to talk about it really at all, but I love this movie. And I think it might end up being, it's not the best one. I can't say it's the best one. But what I do think about this new trilogy is that it seems to be mirroring the new Planet of the Apes ones, like the one that started with James Franco. So there was what was it? Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and then War for the Planet of the Apes. That was the trilogy that they did. Rise of the Planet of the Apes was like, is it a good movie? I honestly don't really know that it is. But it's fun, and it's like a sort of refreshing sort of spin, and it's like we're starting this new thing while also doing a hat tip to the originals, and like you're kind of seeing like this sort of expanded like universe and like how it's connected to the original one in like very, very small, I don't want to say intricate ways, but like it's fun, whatever. It's a bullshit movie, but like whatever, it's fun. The same way that this first, it's like, I don't want to say experimental in a way, but it kind of does new things with the whole monkey shit. The same way this new 28 years later, like, you know, it's refreshing in its ideas and kind of tries to do a new thing while also still being true to the identity of what the previous two movies were. And really what that comes down to is like the way that the camera is operated. But it's, you see the influence and you see like, yes, this is part of the same, you know, like universe, and but it's like, okay, you kind of try to do something different while still respecting what the source, quote unquote, source material is. Right. And then the second movie in both instances, like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is one of the single best movies movies of the 2010s. Point blank, period. At point blank, period, it's one of the best movies of the 2010s. The second movie in that series, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, rocks so unbelievably hard. It rocks like painfully hard. It's kind of like The Empire Strikes Back in a lot of ways. You know, you could use these movies in the same way. I think this movie, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, will be the best one out of these three. And I think what it's setting itself up for, and this, if we use the parallel of the Planet of the Apes movies, is that movie good? Well, for a movie that's called War for the Planet of the Apes, and there's only about cumulatively, 10 goddamn minutes of war in that movie. You know, the special effects are some of the best that you will literally ever see in a movie ever. It's good. It's good. Andy Serkis is amazing, and Woody Harrelson is great, and Steve Zahn is great, and it's a fine movie. And it's a fine conclusion, otherwise, to this greater narrative. But it's okay. The second one just stands out in such a way, which I imagine was probably what's going to happen with this next 28 year. What are they going to call the next one? You know, it's unknowable. Actually, I think we know what it's called. I don't remember what is off the top of my head. It doesn't matter. I think this one in the middle is going to be the best one. I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be particularly close. You know, I just wish maybe the big fun surprise at the end of the movie wasn't, well, I just wish it was a big fun surprise for all of us, for all audience goers. I think everybody deserved to experience that like it was a fucking surprise. And millions of people will. Millions of people will have no idea that that's coming up, you know, but fuck me because I know ball. Like, for real, that's what it comes down to. I think that stinks. I think that stinks like poop, to be honest with you. Okay, folks, Spotify. Let's do the question from before. Just Spotify. Give me your first, like, cool sports thing that you did. Cool sports thing that you did. First memory of that. Trying to think of, like, is there, because I don't know if there's one of you out there who's like, oh, I never played sports and I never got picked for any teams. And, well, if it's because, like, your parents couldn't afford it, then I'm going to feel like, well, I'm going to feel bad either way. So I'm just trying to think of a question for you. What sport did you want to play? No, I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to say to you. I'm sorry. If we were in the same room right now, I'd be like, fuck, I'm just going to leave. Why am I being so mean? Apple Podcasts. What's up? Jared Stidham, please. Let's ride, brother. Jared Stidham, please. Inshallah, please, Habibi. Jared, please. Oh my God, Jared Stidham, please. Matthew Stafford, please. All right, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, sure leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check, and I will catch you guys in the next one.